I went from being broke, in debt, and door dashing as my job to now being worth over $20 million at 23 years old. My name is Tyler. You guys know me as TJR, and this is my story.
I ride for my niggas, dawg. I ride for my niggas. I slide for my niggas, dawg. I ride for my niggas.
So I guess we'll start from the beginning, the broke part. And there was like some ups and downs throughout all of this. I'll kind of go back to where it all started. So when I was younger, when I was in high school, I got into crypto at a young age. And I was always into just like making money online. And even before making money online, I was into making money in video games. So like we can take this back way, way, way earlier and talk about how I was jailbreaking iPhones. I was rooting my Android, and I was literally hacking these video games so I could get unlimited gems, unlimited coins, whatever the in-game currency was, so that I could have unlimited money in-game. And I later translated that into my own life, because life is the best video game that we can play as humans. And I later realized that. But starting off, that's kind of where I guess I had that passion. I don't know what that certain draw that I had for it, but like I just was always doing it on literally every single game. And then obviously as I got older and I kind of started getting out of these video games or these tendencies, I was like, hey, how can I do this with money? So I started doing a lot of different things. One of those things was getting into crypto at a very young age. That obviously was a big boost in me making money, but I ended up losing pretty much every single dollar that I made from that first crypto bull run. On top of that, in high school, I was flipping shoes. I was doing like the clothes reselling shit. Okay, so I would get like a whole bunch of Yeezys. Would come to my house. You know, I did like the Adidas NMDs. I don't know if you guys were into the Hypebeast era, you guys will know what I'm talking about. Adidas was running the world back then. The NMDs, the Ultra Boost, Yeezys, okay, all of those, like I was cooking on those drops, as well as Supreme. I would literally like skip I think it was our first period class on Thursday, or I would always come late. I would go into school, like the school library computer, I would set up the Supreme bot, and I would try and hit. Either I would do that or I would try and cook on the Supreme. Like there was literally a Supreme bot on the iPhone. It wasn't that good, but yeah, I was just super infatuated with trying to make as much money as possible, whether it was in a game or in real life. And fast forward through all of that, after I made a whole bunch of money in crypto and was trying to make money reselling, that didn't really do too much because I spent all of that money on dumb clothes, on trying to buy these sneaker bots, and just blew all that money. And then that got me into day trading. So this was like junior year of high school at this point, where I was started to get interested in trying to do that whole crypto thing, but on a daily basis, because I got really lucky with that first crypto run. And yeah, it kind of just pulled me into, and I first started with the foreign exchange markets. So I was watching a whole bunch of YouTubers, you know, they had these crazy cars, they had these crazy watches, and I was like, I want to be like that. And that's kind of what kickstarted my day trading journey. And obviously, like the majority of you guys, believe it or not, I lost a shit ton of money at the beginning, blowing through all of my money for pretty much like a year and a half, 2 years. And that caused a lot of problems, because this was like junior year of high school. Okay, started getting into it, started spending all this money on like funded accounts and live accounts. And as you guys unprofitable traders know, you're not making any money from this. And that's fine when you're in high school and you're living with your family, who's like, fortunately for me, I was lucky enough to grow up in a good family that kept a roof over my head, gave me good meals. You know, I was living good in high school. And then one thing leads to another, and I have to go off to college. And around this time, I was starting to get trading. Okay, I'd been in it for around like a year and a half, right around 2 years at this point. And when I get there, I kind of have this breaking point. I won't really talk about it too much, but my family's I guess, ideal version of me leaving high school, going into college, and what they saw for me as a future was not what I saw for myself as a future. And this led to kind of some difficult conversations, kind of made there be a little bit of a gap between myself and my parents. And this is I'm already getting emotional. I get sad when I think about it. I get sad when I think about this time, because it was a really difficult time in my life, because I felt like I had no one. And I knew what I wanted to be for myself. And I knew that I had to go this route because I didn't want to be their ideal version of me. Was my worst nightmare. I didn't want to work for a boss. I didn't want to live in some of the ordeals that they had set for me since I was younger. And with that kind of split off, it caused me to have to turn into a grown-ass man, going from high school and then bridging that gap over to college. I get to college and I'm pretty much on my own, and I'm again slowly starting to figure out this whole day trading thing, but also I'm on my own and I don't really have too much money to my name. And I'm spending a whole bunch of money trying to figure out day trading. On top of that, I feel like I have no real connection with any friends in college, or at least my freshman year. I really didn't make any connections with anybody because I kind of just stayed in my room. I was day trading. And I was also struggling because I had like pretty much little to no money because I was spending it all on day trading and then losing it all, or I was throwing that money into crypto. And at the time when I was a freshman in college, like crypto was kind of just going sideways or going down. So this was an issue for me, and this led to me being in pretty severe debt. It was pretty like I was essentially living paycheck to paycheck, and it got to the point where I was like, all right, I need to start like making money because I can't sustain anything for myself. And that's when I started door dashing. It got so bad because I just kept putting myself in more and more debt through the day trading stuff. There was some bill that came through that hit my account that was like a recurring subscription or a recurring bill, and it put my bank account balance at negative $2,000. And I'm pretty sure, I'll have to look on my phone, but I'm pretty sure I have text messages with my parents of them texting me like almost on a daily basis, because they had like the little parental account and they're like, hey, your bank account's at zero again, you need to fix this. Or like, hey, your bank account literally has negative thousands of dollars in it, you need to fix it, what are you going to do about it? And this was kind of like my rock bottom point. I couldn't really talk to anybody about it or reach out to anybody about it because I felt like, I really didn't have any friends at this point in time in my life. I was super depressed because my I just had a lot of anxiety, and I wasn't leaving my dorm room, and I felt like I couldn't talk to my parents because they're telling me like, what the fuck are you doing over there in college? You're throwing your life away. You need to get yourself together. So it felt like they were super disappointed in me, especially after we had this conversation of me saying, I'm going to do this thing with my life. And then they're seeing all of these notifications come through from the bank, and they're like, holy shit, our son's in trouble, essentially. Like me here now in the successful position that I'm in, I can see it from their perspective, where they just wanted the best for me, and they're seeing me with bank account notifications saying, hey, your son's bank account is at zero. And I'm telling them like, it's fine. And they're also like hearing stories about me in college, and they know that I'm not necessarily making the right choices over there. So I can see it from their perspective now. But for me, I was like, I know what I'm doing, and I know how I'm going to change my life. I just have to like give it time. Like I'm so committed to this day trading thing, and I know that I'm going to be able to make this work. And again, throughout all of that, it was just like a super dark period for me of just trying to figure it the fuck out. And once that negative $2,000 hit my bank account, I was like, okay, I need to turn my life around. So I started door dashing, and while I was door dashing, I would have my AirPods in, and I was pretty much listening. I had no clue what the fuck I was doing. I was literally just like, I need to make money right the fuck now, and I'm going to turn, like, it was just like a surge of emotion and a surge of motivation. So I was listening to audiobooks, I was listening to money podcasts, okay, like literally listening to anything that was related to money, and I like fully dedicated myself, and I was like, look, I'm going to change my life. While all of this was happening, I was able to slowly get myself out of debt, which was great. And also the money that I was throwing into crypto back when school was just started to go up, which was really awesome for me. And then also when that money started to go up in crypto, I was able to finally start to get the hang of the day trading thing and able to start making like pretty sustainable money for myself. And that's really where my life was able to turn around, where I went into like just this rock bottom state. And I feel like a lot of successful people have this story where you never really hear a success story from somebody that is just like in the middle, where they're like, yeah, my life was comfortable, my life was good, and then I just got massively successful from there. They may be middle class, but then they'll almost take themselves out of middle class and then like throw themselves in the dirt, not purposely, but because they have those huge ambitions for themselves. They'll be living comfortably, and then because they have those huge ambitions, they'll shoot for the stars, and then they'll fall and crash, and then they'll fall and crash again, and it kind of puts them in this rock bottom state, and then eventually they get out of that rock bottom state, and then that leads them to success. The majority of people that you hear that are massively successful, they all kind of have this rock bottom story of where they finally decide to change their life for the better, or they are sick of the shit that they had been dealing with, or, you know, like there's always some sort of catalyst that kickstarts everybody's big path to success. And for me, that was like the negative $2,000 in my bank account. And then luckily for me, crypto started taking off, and I was able to be far more financially stable and sustainable because of crypto taking off. And with that, it helped me actually be able to get my day trading on track, because before I was day trading in order to make money. And obviously what was happening, I was losing all the money because my headspace was wrong with trading. I was like, I need trading to work for me right now today. I need to pass this account and I need to get this payout so that I can pay for my rent. I need to pass this account and I need this payout so I can put food on the table. Like there was several times, I mean, this was I called it a hack, but it was literally me stealing. But yeah, literally this is crazy. Literally every single night at the end of my DoorDash shift, I wouldn't have any money, and I would be waiting for the money to go from the DoorDash app into my bank account. And I was like, yo, I have nothing to eat. So the last order of every single shift that I would do, I would take it and I would go home, and that would be my dinner for the night. And it's super embarrassing that I have to like sit on here and tell you guys about that, but that's like the reality of the shit that I was doing. And bro, there was even sometimes like where I would pull up with literally like no gas in my car. And again, because I had no money in my bank account, I would have to ask the people at the door. I would wait at the door with their food, and I would ask them for a tip, like a physical dollar bill tip, so that I could put gas in my car. Looking back on that, that was super embarrassing, but those were like big life-changing moments that I think set me on the path to be where I'm at today, where it was super humbling. Like I kind of had to get thrown into the dirt, and I kind of had to be in that rock bottom state to be able to get to where I'm at today. So again, all of that happens, you know, crazy, whatever, hit rock bottom, but then awesome, I'm able to get out of that debt, and crypto starts taking off. I'm far more financially stable now. And my day trading starts taking off as well, because now I'm no longer thinking about I need to trade in order to pay rent. I'm thinking I just want to understand the skill of trading. And luckily for me, I had already been trading for several years. I already understood the skill of trading, but I was over trading and I was over risking, I was over leveraging because I needed to make money from trading. But when it shifted the gears of, okay, I no longer necessarily need to make money from trading, I just need to be good at the skill of trading. And I know that if I can focus on the skill of trading, then from there, money will just come naturally, where I didn't necessarily have this constant pressure of like, you need to pay rent, you need to eat, of putting that like, and that's emotional stress on my own trading, where like I would get on the charts and I'm like, I need to make this much money today. That's an issue, because what happens if you lose money? Then you start freaking out, and then you place another trade to try and make up for that loss, and then also to make the money that you need for that day. So that was the constant spiral that I was in until I was actually able to get myself to a financially stable level. So everything starts going my way. And this is kind of when you guys find out about me, essentially, where I've been trading consistently for around like a year and a half. I'm making good money from it. And this is actually another kind of rock bottom point in my life. Believe it or not, this is another rock bottom point in my life. So I have a whole bunch of money from crypto at this point because I was able to start rotating money that I was making from trading into crypto, and that just kept going higher and higher. As you guys know, the COVID bull run was just absolutely ridiculous. Shout out to Solana, shout out to literally everything built on its ecosystem. Some people may call me lucky, but I was putting in the volume and putting in the repetitions in order to put myself in a lucky situation. And I think a lot of you guys can take notes on that, where we are consistently trying to get 1% better every day. And there's going to be some days where we can get 300 or 400% better. But if we're not showing up on a daily basis, then we won't have those 300 or 400% exponential growth opportunities. And that's what I was doing for myself every day. So I know a lot of people will like to say the money that I made in crypto was luck. Well, yeah, sure, call it luck, but I was showing up every single day. I was trying to get better. I was trying to make more money. I was trying to figure out the trading thing. I was trying to figure out the crypto thing. I was doing everything in my power to be able to make that work. And I had been doing everything in my power to make it work for literally years up until that point. Again, I started the crypto shit when I was in high school. I started the trading shit when I was in high school. There was years of L, just L after L of me losing money, 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 losing money over and over and over again. And that's what people don't see. They only see the wins. And that's what people only want to focus on. They only want to say, oh, he hit it big on this coin. You didn't see the 500 fucking other coins that went to zero, where I literally was sitting there fucking crying because that was the money that I had to pay for food for that day. No, you didn't see that shit. Because nobody wants to focus on that. They only want to point at the people that are successful and say, oh no, they got lucky because it was just one lucky thing. They got lucky because it was just this one thing. But they don't look at all the losses that it took to be able to get lucky on that one opportunity. So I was showing up every single day, putting myself in a position to be lucky, to get a crazy opportunity. And luckily I was able to do that, okay? So second rock bottom is when I have a shit ton of money, I'm making a shit ton of money from trading, and I start getting into vices, okay? Let's talk about vices. I started drinking at the age of 20, so this was kind of like a celebration, I guess you could say, because it's like I have all of this money, I start blowing money on clothes and shoes again, on jewelry, and I start drinking, and this was honestly one of the, not like one of the worst decisions, but it kind of just put me into a bad mental state because I'm in this college town where drinking is just like super socially acceptable, and that's kind of what everybody does to hang out and to have friends. Again, during this time, like I wasn't really super close with anybody, so I start drinking, and then like that kind of lets me be able to have friends, but it's like the wrong way to approach that. And then in turn, I ended up losing myself and losing my personal identity throughout all of that. Like I found myself when I was focusing on growing myself and making money and dedicating my life towards being successful. I was relatively happy during that time. And then once I made all that money, it was just like, boom, right back to pretty much ground zero, where I had a whole bunch of money, but I hated myself. And it was honestly like the worst feeling in the world, because most people think, oh, money buys happiness, or like once you get rich, like all your problems are solved. And I can tell you guys for a fact that that is not the case. And throughout all of this, like through all of my depressing times, there was several times that I decided or attempted to try and take my life. And that's something that I thank God that it wasn't my time for, because that, like, it was a really dark place that I was in, where you think that everything should be going your way because you got to this goal that you thought would fix everything. And then when you realize that happiness isn't just something that you get and get to keep forever, it's something that you have to constantly work on, that was like a big rude awakening for me. And it was like, I have all the money in the world, everything seems to be going right for me on the outside looking in, but on the inside I felt like shit about myself. And that really fucking sucked, And then that was my second rock bottom, where I had a whole bunch of money, but I hated myself. And that was when I kind of decided to turn my life around again. And that is when you guys finally got to know me as TJR. And I don't really even know what caused me to want to start making TikToks. That's the first app that I started posting on. But I was kind of just thinking like, or actually, shout out to Lucas Pachter. I saw him. Lucas is now one of my best friends, which is crazy. Like a lot of these people that I looked up to when I was just starting social media and was like a huge fan of, like they're now my peers, which is awesome. And like some of my best friends, which is super cool. But when I was like watching TikTok, I saw this dude who seemed like in my eyes, I was like, I want to be like this guy because he's giving advice to other people that are his age. That's like giving life advice to college people that are struggling or trying to figure out different things, whatever. It was just like life advice shit. And he's just like talking to the camera. And I was like, hey, I know a lot about crypto and I know a lot about day trading. I'm just going to start talking about that. And I started talking about it, and dude, the growth was like just skyrocketed damn near immediately, because I had years worth of information on crypto and day trading in my brain that I hadn't been able to speak or talk about to the public or talk about to anybody, to literally like no friends, no one. I wasn't able to talk about this thing that I was massively interested in, that also was like kind of a nerdy thing, where I was like too afraid to talk about it to people that were like physically in front of me, because I was like, oh, I'm too scared, whatever. Like I'm an introvert. I know it doesn't seem like it when I'm on here and talking to you guys, but I'll explain like how it works in my brain. Cause like you guys will see like in videos where people come up to me in public, like all the comments are always like, damn, TJR is like super weird. Like, yeah, I'm comfortable talking to you guys in the camera because there's nobody in front of me, but I am like pretty socially awkward actually, which is kind of funny. So this was like my release. This was my ability to talk to people, to be social, and to not be like anxious or not to be nervous. And I was able to talk about this super nerdy thing that I absolutely fucking loved, that I have just all of this knowledge about. And I was able to help other people that also like wanted to learn about this kind of nerdy thing and that they also had an interest in. So that was like really awesome for me, because when I started making the videos about day trading, they like just started ripping and they're like, holy shit, this advice helped me. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like people like me. I was like, this is news to me. This is crazy. This is awesome that people like who I am, because before I was like, I don't think anybody likes me. I felt weird. I felt like a social outcast because of this whole trading thing. And now it was like, oh my God, I found my people. I just got instantly put into this sub niche of TikTok, talking about stocks, talking about trading, talking about crypto. And everybody's like, oh my God, I used this strategy that you told me about on TikTok and it worked. And I'm like, this is awesome. I love helping these people out because I know that they're in the exact same position that I was in, just like literally just recently, like just a couple of years ago. And that was like groundbreaking for me. That changed everything for me. And you guys are literally the reason why I'm able to be like, I literally made a TikTok today and you guys are like social anxiety, scared of bro. I wouldn't be able to be that type of person if you guys hadn't shown me that I'm actually a cool person or that I'm likable. Because before then I was so stuck in my head thinking that nobody fucking likes me. I'm a fucking weirdo because of this, that, the third, and whatever. Like, I'm just going to keep to myself and I'm just going to stay in my apartment. I'm just going to stay doing my own thing. And then once I started talking about day trading, I was like, holy shit, there's so many other people like me that look up to me, that want to do the same thing that I'm doing. And I'm actually a pretty cool guy. So that was super freaking awesome for me. And then obviously social media starts taking off. And again, I start making more and more money with trading. I'm able to scale my account size up. And this is like really when life starts getting good. And I end up making the move from Utah over to Puerto Rico. That like literally 10x'd my life, because I went from living in this college town where like, I don't know, like just the people that live there, I just didn't feel any connection to them, hence why I didn't really have any friends. And me moving to Puerto Rico was the best decision ever for me, because I pretty much went from feeling like some sort of outcast and kind of making that my identity while living in Utah to moving to an island literally on the complete other side of the country, pretty much being able to recreate myself as the person that you guys know today, the confident, the day trader, the dude that has no social anxiety, the dude that just does and says whatever the fuck he wants. And that's what I was able to do for myself by moving out of Utah, because in Utah, I kind of put myself in this box of being whatever, like this anxious, this person that's like never outside, that like is kind of weird, whatever, that doesn't really talk to anybody. But then when I moved to Puerto Rico, there was no boundaries. It was like, nobody knows me out there. Nobody knows who the fuck I am. Nobody knows my deal. So I was able to recreate myself. And I was able to recreate myself into the person that you guys hopefully love and know today, which is TJR. And that was just like groundbreaking for me. Literally upon moving to Puerto Rico, this is something that every single one of you guys should do. If you guys think about that situation where you guys feel like you're put in a box, literally just move far, far away to a place that you don't know anybody, and put yourself in an uncomfortable situation where you can recreate yourself and you can turn yourself into somebody that you genuinely want to be. Because at the end of the day, you are the person that is going to create your own life, and you guys can make your life whatever the fuck you guys want it to be. And I'm living proof of that. I went from somebody that literally hated himself, somebody that hated the person that he was, to being able to break out of that shell, being able to break out of my own box, and then move far, far away, and then literally recreate myself into the person that you guys like look up to on a daily basis, which is super freaking cool. And again, like I get emotional even thinking about that I'm able to show you guys how you guys can do this too. So yeah, I get to Puerto Rico. Another awesome point in my career was doing the trading boot camp. You guys are very familiar with that. The first episode has literally 2 million views on YouTube, which is crazy. And when I got out there, another awesome thing about this was I started surrounding myself with other people who were far, far, far more wealthy than me. I moved into this small city called Dorado in Puerto Rico, and I'm literally the youngest person that lives over there. Okay, I moved over there when I was 20 years old or 21 years old, and I get there and I'm like, yo, like I'm so used to going to play basketball at like the college gym, or like going and watching an NBA game while my like old friends were talking about parlays that they're placing, and I was like, what am I even supposed to do here? And then I realized, wait, I'm a grown-ass man now. And what do grown-ass men do on a daily basis? They work. So what did I do? I decided to fucking work. And this is when my day trading just took the fuck off. I think if you guys remember looking back at those trade recaps, there were some days where I was doing like 6-figure days. I was doing huge, massive numbers. And it was literally all because I was able to break out of that box that I put myself in Utah, came over to Puerto Rico, and I was like, I'm going to reinvent myself here. And that's what I was able to do for myself. So social media started taking off, trading started taking off, and I was surrounding myself with other entrepreneurs, other people who were already massively successful, far more successful than I even am right now. I'm still the smallest fish in that pond over there. And I'm able to learn different things from these older men who have families and who have reached just massive amounts of wealth. And I'm picking up on these things on a daily basis. And they're like, man, like, it's so cool that you're over here and you're young and ambitious. And I'm just sitting there and like soaking up all of this data. And it's super cool to see. And yeah, I was able to hit a whole bunch of achievements. Like I own my house in cash, literally $2 million house out there in Puerto Rico. I have a Brabus GLE out there, own that in cash, literally a $300,000 car. I have a Can-Am out there, I own that in cash, literally a $70,000 toy. I just spent an extra $700,000 remodeling my backyard, paid for that in cash. And this isn't to like try and flex on you guys, but it's just to show you guys what's possible. Like at the start of this video, I was telling you guys how shit my life was. And I know that this is all like my life condensed into whatever, like a 30 or 40 minute long video, but it really doesn't take too long for you guys to be able to change your life forever. And that's like really what I want to tell you guys about today. I could give a fuck. I could go on and on about all the things that I've accomplished and what I plan to do for my future and all of these things. But in reality, the thing that I want you guys to get from this video is that you guys can do it too, okay? Everybody is dealt a hand of cards when they're first born, okay? And everybody is put in difficult situations. Some people are in better situations than others, okay? When I was born and when I grew up, I was in a pretty fortunate situation, okay? My family was great. I had roof over my head. My parents were together. They weren't divorced. They were paying for pretty much everything when I was in high school. Those were the cards that I was dealt when I was younger. But then, going from high school to college, I kind of got thrown out into the wild on my own, and that's when I reinvented myself. And if you guys are somebody that isn't in a fortunate situation, I want this video to inspire you even more, because if anything, you guys have more to prove, and you guys are already in the dirt, and you guys are already in the dumps. And if anything, I know this might sound crazy, but you guys are at more of an advantage, because the people that come up living just like a slow and steady middle of the line life, they're going to forever be comfortable, and they're going to be forever be living that same life. But you guys who are going through the hard shit right now, you guys that have problems, you guys that have issues, you guys feel that pain on a daily basis, and you guys are going to be fueled by that pain to be able to change that, to be able to change your life. So use that as motivation, use that as fuel. Don't use it as an excuse, or don't use that as something to point your finger at and say, this is why I'm not successful. This is the reason why I won't be able to make it in life. Because if you guys give those things, those external causes, those external environments, those external people, those things, control over your own life, they'll forever control your life. And the second that you start taking control of your own life is the second that you can be whoever the fuck you want. It's a really powerful thing once you can start taking blame and start taking fault for where you're at in your own life. I had to get reality checked really fucking hard when I had negative $2,000 in my bank account, where I had to sit myself down and say, okay, I need to do something about this. It was no longer looking and pointing and saying, oh, it's the market's reason because I lost this trade and this, that, the third. No, it was my fault. I was the reason why I was in that shitty position. So who is the one that has the opportunity to change that now? Me, myself, and nobody else. And all of you guys have that same exact opportunity. So I kind of want to leave you guys with just this message of no matter where you guys are at in life, I don't care if you guys are still in high school, I don't care if you guys are far older than me, there's always a chance for you guys to be able to turn your life around for the better. And we only have one life, okay? It's for all we fucking know, right? We only have one life, and I would fucking hate to be on my deathbed looking back at the life that I lived and saying, I wish I did this, or to have any sort of regrets. So you guys might as well take that leap of faith. You guys might as well take a fucking risk, because at the end of the day, if it doesn't play out, if it doesn't work out, at least you fucking tried. At least you guys took that risk. And the worst case scenario is that you're in that exact same position that you started out in. And then guess what? Nothing has changed. So why wouldn't you take the risk? The biggest risk that you guys are taking is not taking that risk. I know that's kind of a play on words, but it's true. The biggest risk that you guys are taking in your life is by not taking the risk. Because what if it works out? What if you are able to become massively successful? And to me, in my head, I see 100% or 100 times more potential in every single one of you guys than you see in yourselves, because I know it's possible with people's lives. I know that my potential right now is 100 times, I'm capable of so much shit. I'm only 23 years old. Some of you guys are far younger than me. I know that your guys' future is going to be probably even bigger and better than mine when you guys are 23. Some of you guys that are older than me, you guys might as well start now. You guys already spent 30 years of your life living in regret and doing things that you guys don't even like doing. Who wants to live their entire life waking up every single day, going to a job that they hate, working for a boss that they hate? Fuck those people. Fuck that job, and fuck that bullshit ass environment that you put yourselves in every single day. You guys might as well take a risk on yourself. You guys might as well go through the fucking dirt. You guys might as well put yourself at that rock bottom point, because if you guys do that, and then when you guys are able to make it out, it's going to make your story and it's going to make yourself feel far better. So I just want to leave you guys with that. I know that every single one of you guys has the potential to be amazing and super successful, because I went from somebody that literally fucking hated himself so much to the point where he wanted to end his life multiple times and tried to end his life multiple times. And I'm sure that a lot of you guys have either been in that situation before or have thought about being in that situation before. And I can promise you it's not fucking worth it, because this is the only life that you have to live. So you might as well make the fucking most of it, and you might as well do what you fucking want to and ball the fuck out. I love and appreciate you guys. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.